Alright, so last week I posted a real quick 2-minute video explaining how I obtained this for $169. But anyways, we got her out to the range today for a full review, so these will be my first shots with the pistol. It just comes in this little box here, basic cardboard underneath. Pretty basic inside. You just get your owner's manual there, a mag loader, assister, what have you there. Lock, and unfortunately only comes with one magazine, so that's part of the reason I'm able to get these for as low as $219 on sale, like I said, not counting the rebate. But they do offer other options, I guess, where it comes with 3 magazines and interchangeable back straps. So this one, it does still come off, so I guess if you purchase them separately you can switch them out, but if you buy the option, it's more around $350, I think. It'll come with 3 mags instead of just the one, and it'll come with all 3 of the back straps. So even though this is basically the stripped down one, you just get 1 mag and 1 back strap, it does still come off, and I'll show you how that works here in a second. So with the mag out, you'll see there's this little tab there with that groove. You will push in on that and then slide it up, and it'll come out, which will allow you to remove the grip panel there, like so. But lucky for me, the panel it comes with feels pretty comfortable in my hand. I believe it's the medium because on the inside there is an M stamped on it. So if you do get the low-end tier one here that just comes with the 1 mag and the single back strap there, just try it out in store first to make sure it's going to fit your hands all right. But I would say that would fit most people there with the medium on there. I have pretty small hands, and although I would probably like the smaller grip panel a little more, I definitely have no issue with this medium one on here. So I will be trying to pick up at least 1 more mag. A lot of places they're out of stock right now, but from what I can find, they should be $35 if you can find them in stock. I've seen, prices as high as $45.50 for those who do have them in stock, so they're price gouging there. But the mag should run about $35, so I'm going to keep an eye out for that, grab an extra one, which, by the way, in this model, it's 15+1 capacity. So this, compared to other brands, would be a full size. This is like pretty much the exact size of a Glock 17, which I actually brought here for a quick comparison. I'm going to do an actual Stoeger versus Glock video coming up after this, because apparently a lot of people are calling this a Glock clone. It feels nothing like a Glock in the hand, but once you pull the slide off there, everything, all the guts, looks exactly like the Glock. I'll show you guys that in a second, but not in this video. In an upcoming one, we'll compare that directly with the Glock 17. But as for size comparison, it's the same size as the Glock 17, so, and the Glock 17 is a full size. However, they make one that's larger than this. It's a little bit longer, and it's a 17+1 capacity. They call that one the full size. And they don't call this one anything, just the STR-9, so I guess this is the regular size. Then they have a compact model that's a little shorter here and there, and so it's only a 13+1 capacity. And then they have a subcompact that's smaller still with a 10+1 capacity. But this one specifically is the 3rd size up, or the 1st size down from the largest. It's the one with the 15 round capacity. There's your sight picture there. I was probably more like that when you're looking down, and I had it kind of close trying to get it to focus. So just your standard 3-dot sights there. You got your slide lock here, which of course does hold open on the last shot. You have your mag release here, which you apparently can switch to the other side if you so desire. Front and rear serrations, tactical rail. These are really grippy. Actually, I'm going to show you that here in a second. So these really dig into your hand. You got some grip panels up front, not quite as grabby as these, but pretty decent texturing. If you're familiar with the M&P 2.0 series, not quite that rough, but definitely still giving you some good grip on the fingers there. And speaking of the fingers, and we'll cover this in the Glock comparison video, these finger grooves here are actually really comfortable. A lot of people don't like them on the Glock, but on this one it's more comfortable, and my fingers actually fit instead of being like over the lumps like they are in the Glock. So real good fit there. Takedown method is identical to the Glock. Real nice thing for the price point is this does come with a stainless guide rod there, so that's excellent, because a lot of the lower end budget pistols, like the Tauruses for example, they come with a plastic rod. So it's nice that this has a stainless steel rod. So there's all that geometry there, which I'll pull the Glock out here and show you, but pretty much identical to a Glock. So I believe that's why a lot of people are saying this is a Glock clone, even though, again, in the hands and probably firing it as well, it doesn't feel anything like a Glock, at least to me. And there is the Glock 17 on the left there for comparison, and you can see, if this thing will focus for me, everything's, pretty similar, pretty much the same, running all the way down through there. Same basic principles, at least slightly different designs here and there. Now, I don't want to make too many more comparisons to the Glock here in this video. I want to save most of that for the Glock comparison video with this, but obviously she striker fire there like a Glock. As for the trigger, okay, you got the trigger safety right there, which, by the way, no safety anywhere on the gun to speak of other than that trigger safety. I am empty, already verified, so you got your trigger safety there. So here is your take up, okay, like so. And then with it being a striker fire, you do of course have a little creep as it pulls back the striker, and it's probably in, it's in the 5-pound neighborhood trigger there, again similar to the Glock. So here's your take up, and then we'll pull through. And there she goes. And then the reset is pretty short. I'll show you that real quick. I gotta put the camera down here. Okay, and then as for the reset, right there. So like I said, I have a video coming up after this one comparing it directly to the Glock, and we'll go over all the similarities and differences. And really the only reason I thought of to do that was because apparently so many people were calling it a Glock clone, so I figured, well, I should probably compare it to the Glock then. So if you don't want to miss that, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss that one. And we'll get to shooting here in just a second. So I just wanted to mention real quick, I have not fired this yet, so you will see my first shots on video today. But I just kind of wanted to explain how this kind of felt in the hand, to me at least. So it's kind of like a Glock had a baby with a Taurus PT-809. That's kind of the feeling of it, and not to discredit this by comparing it to a Taurus, but that's just kind of what it feels like a little more Glock than a Taurus PT-809, but that's kind of what it feels like to me. And maybe just a little bit of Smith & Wesson M&P series in there as well. So real interesting combination, but I really like it. So this thing feels great in the hand. So let's see how she shoots now. So I'm going to use this Bellum 124 grain 9mm today, or 9x19 as some of you like to say. Here in the States say 9mm, and some of the other countries like to get on me for that. So I haven't used Bellum in 9mm yet. I really like their 7.62x39 ammo, but this will be the first time using 9x19 9mm there. One thing I want to mention is that I had heard that these have somewhat of a break-in period. I did notice the recoil spring on this is pretty stiff. Again, this is a brand new pistol. I have not fired it yet. So obviously that'll loosen up with some time, but with cheap practice ammo, whether it be this or Winchester or Federal or whatever, I'm thinking that that may be a somewhat common occurrence until break-in. You might have some stovepipes and whatnot. So hopefully we don't have any of that today, but I did bring some more powerful ammunition. So if that is the issue, and most of your carry loads or defense loads, whatever you would call them, they generally do have a little more power and thus recoil, so they will fully cycle the slide all the way back if you're having that issue with the practice ammo, to where with defense ammunition you shouldn't have any issue like that. So we do have some of that we're going to put through it regardless of whether or not we have any feeding issues. But I just wanted to make that known, that is possible with this slightly stiff recoil spring when new, so it might have a 100-200 round break-in before it'll run 100% flawless. If you do have that issue though, again, if you run some defense loads through it, it should run no problem there, because those have the extra recoil. So from what I've read, this is supposed to be a really accurate pistol. I also really like the trigger on it. As I pull through, whether I pull slow or just normal, I do not move at all, whereas other striker guns do cause me to like kind of twitch a little bit when the trigger goes off. But this one is super steady, so can't wait to see how she shoots here. All right, here goes first shots. So I'm going to take a few on these larger, closer targets here first, just to kind of get a feel for it. Then I'm going to try to print a few on that gong I set down there to kind of see where we are at point of impact in relation to the sights, which, by the way, the rear is drift adjustable. So if you need to adjust your sights, you can do so. All right, so it's got a center hold. She's hitting dead center there. It is not a 6 o'clock hold. They are hitting right over the front blade here, or just barely where the white dot is in relation to where you're aiming. Personally, I love the center hold. It's like shooting rifle sights. I love that on a pistol. Most pistols are 6 o'clock hold. This one is a center hold, or I think they also call it a combat hold. I love that on pistols, so this thing should run great for me. So, they look like they're dead on, so she should be good to go. I also wanted to note that I did break this down, clean and lubricate it before we got out here today. This was completely dry from the factory, so you'll definitely want to break it down and at least put some lubrication on the rails in there. I don't know if the camera picked that up, but something flying in the air there after it hit. It might have been what was left of the bullet there. So it's not too bad to load up there. It's not the smoothest magazine ever to load, but you can see there not really having any issue. The pressure's not too bad either. It's a little stiffer than some 9mm mags I've had to load. I mean, it's a brand new gun too, but not too bad to load there. I never used the mag assist thing, so obviously that would make it even easier. I had seen some reports that this was kind of difficult to load, and honestly, as you can see, I'm not really having too much issue. Those last few there are a little difficult, but completely manageable. All right, so we'll try the slide release when in the battery. Well, she's running good for us, so. All right, so I'll stand behind the camera here and see if we can hit these from basically twice the difference I was just at. The laser rangefinder confirmed 14.6 yards from where I'll be standing there. If you guys want to get yourself a nice budget rangefinder, link to that one in the description there. I've been using it for years and love it. All right, well, obviously I've only put 2 mags to this so far, but I'm going to see if I can hit all of these without missing. I'm just going to do a nice slow pull through of the trigger there and, you know, try to hit them, not try to rush through them or anything. 14.6 yards. I got exactly 15 targets standing besides the gong, and I got 15 rounds, so let's see if I can get them all without missing. Alright, so the point of impact's a little different from back here. It looks like I'm a little low right, so I probably will have to adjust these sights slightly at some point. Now I'm compensating for that though, so shouldn't have any more misses. Let's pop a few more in the mag here, see if I can get those last two there. All right, so to adjust that rear sight there, you're just going to take that little set screw out of your rear sight, and then you want to use a little punch set like this. All right, so one thing I kind of got off track earlier. I'm noticing that this is not moving in my hand at all. Plenty of pistols, 9mm included, and smaller calibers. You know, often in my videos you see me like adjust my hand periodically while I'm shooting, because like after a few shots it kind of like slides in my fingers, and then I gotta like real quickly readjust my grip. I am not having that issue with this one at all. And on my comment earlier that these were pretty aggressive, let me show you that real quick. Actually, there I was worried that they might like kind of chafe my hand or what have you, because they're so aggressive. I'm squeezing it hard, as you should be when you're, you know, trying to fire. And you should be able to see, yeah, see how at least the little dots in my hand. So yeah, they're pretty aggressive, but surprisingly, I'm not having an issue. I mean, as you can see, my hand's not red or anything, so it's not like rubbing me raw or nothing like that. So surprisingly, as aggressive as those are, there we go, I had to slow down some, it's not causing me an issue, at least for me. But I do, you know, have a pretty firm grip while I'm shooting, as one should. So yeah, surprising, not moving at all in my hands, and these aren't chewing me up, so that's really good. And if you couldn't tell so far, this thing's running excellent. This will be 100 rounds once I finish these here. I'm really liking it, so certainly not disappointed, especially for the price point. But what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go ahead and save these, because I got that, like I said, Glock comparison coming up with it, so I'll have a little extra of these for that. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to these defense loads here, these hollow points, test for reliability and whatnot. But one thing I also wanted to mention, how I was saying earlier, this has a center hold, or it might even be slightly low from over the front blade there. You can switch your ammunition up. Sometimes the grain, the weight of the bullet will change impact higher or lower, and then of course whether the round is hotter or not can affect that too. So if you prefer the 6 o'clock hold and this thing's giving the center hold as mine is, and also in other reviews and whatnot I've seen and read, switching to different ammunition can sometimes help with that, so you can get a little higher impact if you want by doing so. Now I don't know if any of these are going to do that, and that's not what I'm testing for, but I just wanted to make that known. If you want it to hit higher, you find the right ammo for it and it will hit higher for you. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to load it up, but with one in the chamber as well. Let me get all these out and show you real quick. Okay, so these are the Winchesters. These are 147 grain hollow points. If she'll focus there, I'm booping it with my nose trying to get it to focus. Some Sierra Outdoor 115 grain hollow points, and Ammo Incorporated 115 grain hollow points. Sorry it's not focusing there. And I have gel tests on all of these guys, so if you want to see that, check out the 9mm gel test playlist on the channel. I've not only tested these, but far more, so make sure you go and give that a look. But I'm going to load up 5 of each in the mag plus 1 in the chamber, just to basically check, make sure it'll function on all these hollow points just fine. Alright, in order, we got the Sierras on top, then the Ammo Incorporated in the middle, and then at the bottom of the mag we have those Winchester 147 grains. That was interesting. These the Sierra and the Ammo Incorporated felt just like these Bellums here, the practice ammo. Definitely noticed a little more pop with those 147s, but you should, because it's a heavier bullet. And I've had people argue this with me before, but heavier bullet always kicks more. The only rare exception is depending on the powder usage with the 147 and 9mm. Well, that's not the right. I meant to be pointing up here. With the 147 and 9mm, with it being a longer bullet, obviously, you can't get as much powder in the case. So in some instances, they can recoil less because there's not as much powder. But if you or the manufacturer is using the appropriate powder to account for that shorter case capacity there, a heavier bullet with the same charge behind it, it's always going to give more recoil. And it wasn't astronomically more than these two, probably like a 10% difference. But I just thought it was interesting. I definitely noticed. But I think that'll do it for the pistol range. Like I said, I'm going to go down the rifle range real quick and try to get some at least 50-yard shots. And, well, I'm going to try for 100 too. Because several times on the channel, I've posted a few videos of a few pistols where I'm able to get them out 100 yards accurately. And I think this is going to be another one on that list. So we'll do that real quick. But as I said, I'm trying to conserve ammo to do the Glock comparison to this. So if you guys would like to see me be able to put more rounds down the barrel through my review videos, you could always consider hitting that super thanks button bottom right under the video if you'd like to support the channel and help me be able to do that. But before we head down to the rifle range and take some longer shots, I guess I'll do 25, 50, 100. It depends on how much traffic's down there, because I don't want to keep stopping guys to keep moving the target, you know what I mean? And I know some of you will say, oh, that's stupid because the pistol's not, that's not what it's for, which, it's not. A pistol's close quarter combat, but I always like to stretch the limits, see what I can do. Plus, it's always nice to know, especially like on a hike or something like that, just what you're capable of doing with whatever sidearm you're carrying. Especially, even a survival situation. What if you get lost or something and that's the only thing you have on you and you're forced to hunt, say, a white-tailed deer to survive so you don't starve to death? It's nice to know if you can take a 50 or 75-yard shot accurately to do so. So that's part of the reason I do those things, but mostly just because it's really fun to shoot pistols long range because it's a challenge. But yeah, I'm not disappointed in this thing at all. I mean, what else could you ask for, especially for the price I got it for? But even at the highest retail prices I'm seeing of $299, I'd still say it's 100% worth it. As I said earlier in the video, I'd heard of some people having some issues before break-in, stovepipes and whatnot. I'm not having any of those issues, as you can see there. We have almost 100 rounds through it. We needed to put 20 more through it. It would have been a solid 100, and we put 16 more through it. So what's that, 96, I believe? We got 96 rounds through it, and we started with, the cheap practice ammo. Not a single malfunction, whatever. She does seem to be pretty accurate. Again, we're going to test that further at the rifle range. Ergonomics are great. Like I said, the grip panels and the stippling on it and whatnot are awesome. My hand didn't move at all the entire time, at least not that I noticed. The recoil is pretty tame for a 9mm. Sights are pretty decent. I mean, again, what else could you ask for in the $200 range? And then even better, like I said, I got this for $169. Well, I would say out the door, but not quite out the door because I had to fill out that rebate. But I'm definitely not left with any negatives here. I can't think of any negatives for the price, honestly. Great pistol for the money. Definitely good competition to Glock there because it's about half the price, even if you pay full price and no rebates and whatnot. So, yeah. So here I am at the rifle range with it. There was a rifle shooter off to the left of me, as you could hear there. But there's the target all the way down there at 100 yards. So the first several shots that I take, I miss. I was trying to find where to hold. But then I did eventually more or less find where I needed to hold to get hits. And then I got several hits, some in a row. Obviously it was low light there, but on top of it being low light, I had the sun glaring off the slide and it was making it difficult to see the sights. So I had a few things going against me, but once finding where to hold and under better circumstances and with a little more practice, I could probably get 8 out of 10 hits at 100 yards.